Welcome to Dependable Flame, where we explore vintage petrol lighters, ashtrays, tobacconiana, and other useful mechanisms. Make yourself at home. Today we are going to tinker around with this vintage Scripto-Vu Petrol lighter. Test it with some petrol fuel and see whether it will hold the fuel in the tank without leaking, and then also see if that valve will allow fuel into the upper chamber without leaking. Lighter doesn't look like it has been used a whole lot, although it is a little bit cloudy through the visible fuel tank. And typically these are going to fail in the seal for this valve that allows that fuel into the upper chamber, and then also a lot of times the rubber gasket on the fuel screw will be hardened, cracked, and broken up. And you guys know that typically I'm not a big proponent of gaskets or seals on petrol lighter fuel screws, but with the Scripto-Vu it's different because you don't have wadding in there to hold that fuel in. I have demonstrated before with other lighters that had holes in the fuel screw how that wadding will hold the fuel as long as it is not overfilled. But if you don't have a sealed off screw in the bottom of this Scripto-Vu, then your fuel is just going to run right out the bottom. So we'll go ahead and squirt some fuel in here. We will probably not fill it all the way up until we know for sure whether or not it will retain the fuel that we pour in it. So nozzle down, and well, there's about halfway full. Get our fuel screw back into place. And tighten down. Got some moisture on the outside here, but I think it's just where it ran down that back side. Appears as though that fuel screw is well, I don't know if that's leaking or that is excess. We'll give that a chance to dry. And we will also actuate our valve here and see if, well, we're going to let some fuel into that upper chamber, and we'll just see whether or not this valve leaks when we do it. If it did leak, it didn't leak out the back side there. You saw the bubbles, so it let fuel up into that upper chamber. And of course, I'm just testing this out. As far as selling one of these Scripto-Vu lighters as in working condition, I think that you always need to note the actual disposition of different parts of the lighter when it comes to a lighter like this with seals. So even if it holds its fuel, if I were to sell it as such, then I would note that it had its original seals still in it, so that whoever's buying it would be aware that it could literally fail at any moment. I, to this point in time, have not dug into replacing these seals. I have replaced wicks in these Scripto-Vus. We've had more than one project where we cleared out a Flint tube for a Scripto-Vu, but we haven't done anything as far as actually taking the lighter apart. I've gotten questions about that before. I also don't remember ever having one of these Scripto-Vus where the placard inside there stayed against one side like that. I thought they always floated. So I'm not sure what that's about. This is one of the bigger variety, not the short, smaller ones. I am not certain if this is the case, but I've seen, I believe on the OTLS website, it explained that those smaller variety are after the company moved its production to Japan. I think. Just trying to recall what those posts that I saw in that Facebook lighter group might have said. Now, up to this point, we don't have any fuel leaking out. Anything that was damp there has dried off, dissipated. So it appears as though it's holding its fuel. You see where the Scripto-Vu has a nice snuffer integrated into its lid, as opposed to the Zippo that's just kind of a big cavernous evaporation area up there. So this does show some scuffs, scratches, wear. Obviously we just talked about it having its original seals both on the fuel screw and in the valve that allows fuel into the upper chamber. I forgot that this lighter does not have a flint in it. So we will go ahead and put a new flint in here while we're at it. One thing that I can tell you for sure is that you don't want to put these Scripto-Vu flint mechanisms into concentrated vinegar. This is constructed of some kind of pot metal, cheap metal, and when I put that in the concentrated vinegar a couple of years ago, it literally ate it completely away. So flint down the tube, followed by the flint spring and this little pot metal flint spring screw. It fits over the outside. Get it grooved in the right direction. Tighten it on down. We will replace that. See, it's marked View Lighter Scripto on both sides. Here's some wear to the back here also. Some plating loss, looks like. I don't see any leaks so far. And skipped on the first strike, but lights right up on the second. Until next time.